Have you ever noticed how the harder you try to show a man you care, the more he seems to drift? Yet the moment you pull back, suddenly he remembers your name, your voice, your energy. It almost feels unfair, like some mysterious force decides when you matter and when you don't. But here's the truth. Most women never get told. Staying on his mind has nothing to do with chasing him, and everything to do with the energy you hold within yourself. In this video, I'm going to show you how to become the woman he can't stop thinking about. Not because you're playing games, not because you're pretending not to care, but because you finally understand the quiet psychology of attraction that makes a man feel your presence even when you're nowhere near him. Imagine being the woman whose voice he replays in his head, the woman he checks his phone for, the woman he compares others to, without even realizing he's doing it. That version of you isn't built through effort. She's built through alignment. Today we're breaking down the emotional patterns, subtle behaviors, and mindset shifts that make a man feel drawn to you naturally, consistently, and deeply. If you've ever felt like you're giving too much, trying too hard, or losing yourself in the process, this is the moment you reclaim your power. Because once you understand what I'm about to share, you'll never chase again, and he'll never forget you. When a woman starts chasing a man, something subtle but powerful happens beneath the surface. Not just in the dynamic, but in how he begins to perceive her. Chasing shifts your energy from chosen to seeking, from valued to discounted, often without you even realizing it. And the moment a man feels that shift, his instinct isn't to come closer, it's to pull away. The reason chasing doesn't work is because it sends a message you never intended to send, that your attention is readily available, that your emotions can be accessed at any time, and that he doesn't have to invest effort to earn your presence. Men don't consciously think this through. It happens on a subconscious level. When something requires no effort, the brain assigns it less value. That's human psychology, not just male behavior. The more you chase, the more he stops wondering about you. The more you initiate, the less he feels the need to initiate. The more you try to prove your interest, the less he feels inspired to earn your interest. And slowly, you move from the woman he was curious about to the woman he feels secure he already has, even if he never actually committed to you. What makes this even more frustrating is that most women don't chase out of desperation. They chase out of hope. Hope that showing interest will build connection. Hope that giving effort will signal loyalty. Hope that staying present will prevent him from losing interest. But in reality, it does the opposite. It creates a dynamic where your energy becomes predictable, and predictability without emotional depth becomes forgettable. A man thinks about the woman who holds space, not the one who fills every space. He remembers the woman who brings calm confidence, not anxious pursuit. When you stop chasing, you're not withholding love, you're allowing him the space to rise into his masculine role, to pursue with intention, and to genuinely see your value. And once he feels that contrast, the difference between being pursued and being inspired to pursue, everything changes. Desire isn't something you force into existence. It's something you awaken. And when it comes to men, desire is built through a very specific emotional formula: curiosity, uncertainty, anticipation, and reward. These are the core psychological pillars that make someone linger in your mind long after the conversation ends. At the heart of desire is curiosity. A man becomes curious about a woman when he senses there is more to her than what she initially reveals. Not in a secretive or manipulative way, but in the way she carries herself, her thoughts, her standards, her emotional world. When everything about you is immediately accessible, his mind has nothing to explore. When there's depth, layers, experiences, and a quiet confidence behind your words, he naturally leans in. Then comes uncertainty, not the toxic kind, but the type that makes him aware that your attention is meaningful, not guaranteed. This is the psychological sweet spot, where a man begins to replay interactions, rethink his responses, and consider what you might be thinking or feeling. This uncertainty activates pursuit. It fuels imagination. It triggers the very part of his brain that associates effort with importance. Next, anticipation builds. This is where he begins to look forward to hearing from you, seeing you, or engaging with you again. Anticipation is powerful because it creates emotional investment before anything physical even happens. He starts connecting small moments to you: a song, a scent, a thought that pops up at random. In his mind, you become associated with positive emotional spikes. Finally, reward completes the cycle. When a man pursues and experiences a moment of closeness, affection, or connection with you, it reinforces the entire pattern. The brain loves reward pathways. It seeks them out again and again, but the reward only feels meaningful because curiosity, uncertainty, and anticipation came first. This is why desire isn't created through chasing. It's created through emotional pacing, through allowing moments to breathe, through letting him feel the natural rise and fall of connection. When you understand this rhythm, you don't have to force anything. You simply become the kind of woman whose presence activates the psychology of desire without ever saying a word. Being memorable without trying has nothing to do with perfection, constant effort, or performing a version of yourself you think he'll like. It has everything to do with authenticity, emotional presence, and the energy you carry into every interaction. When a woman becomes memorable, it's because something about her lingers, not because she demanded attention, but because her essence created an imprint. A woman becomes memorable when she moves with intention instead of urgency. When you speak, you choose your words thoughtfully. When you listen fully. When you share something personal, it feels genuine, not like you're trying to manufacture connection. Men are highly responsive to the emotional tone of a moment, often more than they realize. When your energy feels grounded and effortless, you create a sense of calm that sticks with him long after you've walked away. Another way you become unforgettable is by maintaining your individuality. You don't lose yourself in his world. You invite him to explore yours. You have passions, routines, interests, and boundaries that shape who you are. You don't bend your schedule or identity around him. And because of that, he feels like he's discovering someone with a life he wants to be part of, not someone waiting for direction. Depth is memorable. Mystery isn't about holding back. It's about having more layers than someone can learn in a single conversation. Your energy also plays a huge role. A woman who doesn't overreact, over-explain, or overprove herself has a rare kind of magnetism. She's not trying to impress. She simply exists in her truth. Whether you're laughing, sharing a story, or simply sitting in silence, you bring a sense of ease that makes him feel safe to be himself. Safety is deeply attractive, and it's often the reason a man keeps thinking about a woman long after she's gone. Small moments of contrast make you memorable too. You show kindness without becoming overly accommodating. You show interest without becoming predictable. You show warmth without giving away all of your emotional space. This balance makes him pay attention. It creates a natural pull because he feels something different, something refreshing in your presence. Being memorable without trying is about living in alignment with your own value. When you embody that, he doesn't remember you because you chased him. He remembers you because something about you felt rare. Balancing interest and independence is one of the most powerful skills a woman can develop because it allows you to build connection without losing yourself in the process. And the truth is, most women don't struggle with showing interest. They struggle with showing interest without letting it consume their emotional world. The key is understanding that genuine connection thrives in the space where you can express care while still standing firmly in your own identity. When you show a man interest, it should feel warm, intentional, and real, not rushed, pressured, or based on fear of losing him. Interest is a gentle openness, responding thoughtfully, sharing parts of yourself, being present in the moment. It's allowing him to see who you are without forcing closeness or trying to accelerate the relationship. When interest is expressed from a place of confidence instead of insecurity, it enhances attraction rather than diminishing it. Independence, on the other hand, is often misunderstood. Independence isn't about acting distant, pretending not to care, or living a life completely separate from him. True independence is emotional stability. It's the ability to enjoy him without depending on him for your sense of worth. It's maintaining your friendships, your passions, your goals, and the routines that make you feel grounded. It is knowing that your life is full, and he is an addition, not the foundation. The balance comes from recognizing that you don't have to choose between connection and self-respect. You can be affectionate without being available 24/7. You can be excited about him without rearranging your entire world. You can care about him without losing your center. When you live in this balance, a man feels both welcomed into your life and inspired to pursue you. This equilibrium also protects the relationship from slipping into uneven dynamics. When you lean too far into interest, you risk overgiving. When you lean too far into independence, you can appear guarded. But when the two are in harmony, you create a dynamic where he feels valued but also motivated to step forward. Men are drawn to women who have room for them but not dependency on them. And when he senses that you offer connection and self-assurance, he doesn't just feel attracted, he feels inspired to rise, to invest, and to meet you at the level where real relationships grow. What you say, and just as importantly, what you choose not to say, plays a huge role in how a man perceives you, connects with you, and invests in you. Your words carry emotional cues, signals, and subconscious messages that shape whether he feels drawn toward you or begins to take you for granted. And the key is not in rehearsed lines, but in the energy behind your communication. What you should say centers around three things: clarity, warmth, and boundaries. Clarity means speaking from a place of honesty rather than guessing what he wants to hear. When you express your thoughts without filtering them through fear or insecurity, you come across as grounded and sincere. Simple phrases like "I enjoyed spending time with you" or "I appreciate your effort" show interest without overwhelming him. Warmth is about allowing your natural femininity to shine. Men respond deeply to softness, not weakness, but softness. Saying things like "I love how you think about things" or "I feel really comfortable around you" can make him feel seen in ways that inspire emotional closeness. Warmth nurtures connection without chasing it. Boundaries, though, are what make your warmth meaningful. Saying "I'd love to see you, but I can't tonight. How about this weekend?" shows that you have a full life and mature self-respect. It sends a message that your time is valuable, not endlessly available. Now, what you shouldn't say often matters even more. Avoid statements rooted in urgency, pressure, or fear. Things like "Why haven't you texted me?" or "Do you even like me?" These come from anxiety, not authenticity, and they unintentionally push him away because they create an emotional demand he didn't sign up for. Also, avoid over-explaining your feelings. You don't need long paragraphs defending your worth or clarifying every detail of a situation. Over-explaining signals that you're seeking reassurance rather than expressing confidence. Speak your truth, then allow silence to do the rest. Another thing to avoid is premature emotional depth. Sharing your heart is beautiful, but doing it too early can overwhelm a man who hasn't yet built the internal space for it. Let emotional intimacy grow naturally instead of narrating every vulnerability up front. The power of your words lies in balance, being expressive but not excessive, open but not overexposed. When your communication reflects confidence and emotional steadiness, he won't just hear your words, he'll feel them. And that's what makes them unforgettable. There is a very specific energy shift that turns a woman from someone a man enjoys into someone he actively pursues. And it doesn't come from being more available, more accommodating, or more expressive. It comes from a deeper internal alignment, a shift from seeking connection to embodying connection. When your energy moves from proving your worth to simply living in it, everything about the dynamic changes. This shift happens the moment you stop interacting with him from a place of fear. Fear of losing him, fear of saying the wrong thing, fear of not being enough, and begin showing up from a place of abundance. When a woman carries herself as though love is something she naturally attracts rather than something she has to chase, men feel that difference immediately. It's subtle but powerful, and it activates pursuit in a way that words never could. Your energy becomes magnetic when you detach from the outcome, not in a cold or dismissive way, but in a way that communicates emotional security. You allow things to unfold without forcing direction. You enjoy the present moment without obsessing about the future. You give him room to step forward because you've stopped trying to manage his steps for him. This shift also shows up in the way you express yourself. Instead of overthinking every text, you respond genuinely. Instead of worrying about how he perceives you, you focus on how you feel in the connection. Instead of overanalyzing the silence, you fill your life with things that nourish you. A woman who is emotionally fulfilled on her own naturally invites pursuit because she feels like an experience, not a responsibility. Your boundaries become clearer too. You don't chase after mixed signals, you match energy with grace. You don't reward minimal effort, you respond to consistency. And because you're not trying to hold on to him, he starts holding on to you. Men pursue what they feel they could lose, not because they fear abandonment, but because value inspires effort. The energy shift that makes him pursue is simply this: you step into your worth so fully that he feels the difference in his bones. He feels compelled to rise, to act, to invest, because your presence awakens something in him that chasing never could. One of the hardest parts of dating is realizing that sometimes it's not what you meant to do that pushes a man away. It's what you didn't even realize you were doing. These mistakes often come from good intentions, wanting closeness, wanting clarity, wanting reassurance. But even with the purest intentions, certain behaviors can quietly erode attraction and emotional connection. One of the biggest mistakes is over-communicating out of anxiety. When every moment of silence turns into a text, a question, or a need for reassurance, it shifts the dynamic from mutual connection to emotional pressure. Men don't pull away because they don't care. They pull away because the intensity starts to feel suffocating. Attraction grows in space, not in constant interaction. Another common mistake is trying too hard to prove your value. Complimenting him excessively, always being available, or exaggerating your interest can send the unintended message that you're trying to earn his affection instead of expecting reciprocation. When a woman tries to convince a man that she's worth choosing, he stops feeling the need to discover her on his own. A subtle but damaging mistake is reacting emotionally to mixed signals. When he doesn't text back quickly or acts distant, spiraling into confrontation, panic, or emotional demands can push him further away. Men need to feel that you can maintain your center even when the connection feels uncertain. Emotional regulation is profoundly attractive, and emotional volatility is equally repelling. Another mistake is abandoning your own life too quickly. Canceling plans, rearranging your schedule, or putting everything on hold to accommodate him creates an imbalance he might not consciously register, but he will feel. When your world shrinks around him, he loses the experience of pursuing a woman with depth, independence, and a life he wants to be part of. Finally, one of the most common mistakes is seeking commitment before connection is truly built. Rushing emotional milestones, defining the relationship, pushing for labels, or needing instant clarity can make him feel cornered instead of inspired. Commitment grows naturally when a man feels both desire and emotional safety, not pressure. The truth is, these mistakes don't make you too much or not enough, they simply come from fear. And once you replace fear with self-worth, everything about the connection shifts towards something healthier, deeper, and more aligned. Staying in a man's thoughts every single day isn't about constant communication or always being present. It's about creating an emotional imprint that lingers long after the moment ends. What makes you unforgettable isn't how often you appear in his life, but the feeling he associates with you when you're not around. Men remember women who activate a specific emotional frequency, one that feels calm, intriguing, warm, and slightly unpredictable in the most feminine way. One of the most powerful ways to stay in his thoughts is by leaving him with emotions, not just conversations. Instead of over-explaining or filling every silence, allow your presence to feel intentional and meaningful. When moments with you feel special, even subtly, his mind begins to revisit them. It could be the way you smile, the softness in your tone, the way you carry yourself with grace, or a simple comment that made him think deeper about something. These tiny emotional anchors replay in his mind automatically. Another way you stay on his mind is by maintaining your own life with genuine passion. When he sees you pursuing your goals, nurturing your friendships, enjoying your hobbies, or growing personally, he naturally becomes curious about you. Men think about women who inspire them, not through perfection, but through the way they show up for themselves. Your self-driven energy creates contrast. He feels your value in your independence, not in your availability. A subtle but powerful method is leaving space for him to come toward you. When you don't rush closeness or chase connection, you leave room for desire to breathe. He begins to wonder what you're doing, who you're spending time with, what you're thinking. This gentle mystery isn't about withholding, it's about living. When you're not constantly available, his mind fills the gaps with curiosity. Small thoughtful expressions also make you unforgettable. A genuine compliment, a light-hearted tease, a moment of warmth, or a short message that feels intentional rather than needy. These all plant seeds in his memory. Not heavy, not emotional burdens, but little sparks. Ultimately, you stay in his thoughts daily by being a woman who elevates his emotional world. A woman who brings peace, authenticity, depth, and a bit of unpredictability. When he feels better after interacting with you, even in small ways, he'll think about you long after the moment has passed. As we wrap up, it's important to remember that everything we've discussed isn't about manipulation, games, or trying to control someone else's feelings. It's about reclaiming your power, stepping fully into your feminine energy, and understanding how your presence naturally creates attraction. The most magnetic women aren't chasing, they're aligned, confident, and unapologetically themselves. That alignment is what makes a man think about you, desire you, and pursue you, not because he's forced, but because he feels inspired. One of the key takeaways is that your worth is inherent, not earned through effort. You don't need to over-explain, overgive, or overcompensate to be memorable or valuable. When you hold yourself with confidence, maintain your independence, and communicate from a grounded place, men are naturally drawn to your energy. You set the tone for the relationship through how you carry yourself, not through how much attention you demand. Another essential tip is to create balance in your energy. Express interest, warmth, and emotional presence, but don't let it come at the cost of your independence, priorities, or self-respect. Attraction thrives in contrast between closeness and space, mystery and authenticity, giving and holding boundaries. When you master this balance, you move from being someone who is temporarily appealing to someone who is unforgettable. Finally, remember that connection grows from alignment, not chase. Stop trying to control his thoughts or his feelings. Focus instead on living a life that inspires desire naturally, pursuing your passions, nurturing your self-worth, and maintaining emotional stability. The woman who embodies these qualities doesn't need to force attention. Her presence creates it effortlessly. So take a deep breath and commit to your energy, your boundaries, and your self-respect. The more you align with your authentic value, the more he will rise to meet you. You're not here to chase. You're here to be magnetic, memorable, and unapologetically. And when you do that, the right man won't just notice you. He'll pursue, invest, and remember you for a lifetime.